Hey everybody, I'm Jesse Waters along with Kimberly Guilfoyle, Juan Williams, Dana Perino, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 9 o'clock in New York City and this is The Five. Breaking news. Kathy Griffin won't be attending the same New Year's Eve party this year. CNN today fired Miss Griffin as co-anchor of its New Year's Eve coverage for posing with a mask designed to look like the severed head of President Trump. A viewer warning, some may find this photo disturbing. And there it is. Disgusting.
What part?
President Trump reacted on Twitter, writing, quote, Kathy Griffin should be ashamed of herself. My children, especially my 11-year-old son, Barron, are having a hard time with this. Sick. First Lady Melania Trump also expressed outrage, releasing a statement that said in part, quote, a photo opportunity like this is simply wrong and makes you wonder about the mental health of the person who did it. Though Democratic Senator Al Franken said he'll still appear with her at an event in July.
Kathy's a friend and she's a terrific comedian, but this had no business being in our public discourse.
Can she recover from this?
Well, I think she did the right thing. I think asking for forgiveness and acknowledging that this was a horrible mistake, and so I think she can.
And you're still going to appear with her?
Yes.
Wow, so still appearing with Kathy Griffin.
Guess who's not? Anderson Cooper.
Anderson Cooper.
Anderson Cooper canceled his big New Year's plans with her, and I think they should. We talked about this last night on the show. The fact that CNN acted decisively about this, I think, is good, is important. And also, it's a little bit of a pushback on people that think that they can just take shots disrespectful at the office of the presidency. It's fine to be able to disagree and express your opinion, but to do something like this is so offensive and outrageous. And this isn't somebody who was, by accident, an innocent mistake. No, she planned this out. She knew that it was going to be problematic. And Dana mentioned last night, you hear her on the tape ahead of time talking about, we're going to have to move to Mexico after this. She knew exactly what she was doing. So good. She deserves to be punished for it.
The stunt absolutely backfired because, like Dana said yesterday, it was already in motion, the apology. Yeah. Do you think that Kathy owes the Trump family an apology? Because as we saw, it had a huge impact on the son.
Only if she means it. I mean, if it's another apology that, in my mind, was insincere, then no, I wouldn't do it. I think that I would never recover if Melania Trump, the First Lady of the United States, or any First Lady of the United States, was disappointed in me like that.
Exactly.
I personally would never recover. I'd be in the fetal position under this table.
We would
feeling like a kicked dog.
That's right.
But it's true, right?
Yeah,
Greg,
she deserved it.
I mean, do you buy Kathy Griffin's apology? No one at the table buys it. CNN probably doesn't buy it. Anderson Cooper doesn't buy it. This is what she does. It was a stunt, and it blew up in her face.
Yeah, no, it's, as Dana pointed out, she had planned this whole thing. She lost her endorsement deal with Squatty Potty, which is funny because her career was already in the toilet.
And now what will you do?
I don't know. But there's a couple of things. I do think that this was a way for her. I think she did this on purpose to catapult herself from D to B list to head to the top of the anti-Trump mountain.
Yeah.
Because in this era, if you lack talent the way she lacks talent, Al Franken was lying, she's not a terrific comedian, the best way to go forward is to take that express train to political relevance. In this case, the worst things that you can say about Trump will make the best friends in Hollywood. Now Madonna will call her back and now she'll be able to say, yeah, I am crucified because of Trump. I have a bigger problem with the media saying this is a non-story because they find that Trump is an acceptable villain. If you had obviously had done this with anybody else, it would have been differently. And then the media also calls the conservatives and the Republicans and the right wing hypocrites because we're the ones that always call people out on being too politically correct.
Right.
We call people out on being snowflakes, a stupid word. However, unlike the left, we didn't actually call for her job. No one is rioting. We're not trying to ban her from speaking at colleges. That is something that the left does when they find somebody that they deem to be evil. Here, we just think she's wrong, she's stupid, she's about as funny as syphilis. But we're not saying she needs to. I don't care if she keeps her job. I don't really care. I think that she knew She wanted to get out of this. She wanted to get out of this Kathy Griffin world, this sad world that she's in, and go to a different Kathy Griffin world, which is the one of anti-Trump political relevance. And she did it.
Or back to
get a
where
book
she
deal out of
belongs.
this.
Yeah.
She'll probably get a book deal.
D-list.
Yeah.
Oh,
She
no.
will.
I don't think she's getting any book deal, but you never know. But I just disagree on so many levels. First of all, what she
You're
did
like a
was
parking lot.
vile. She was
So many
wrong,
levels.
right? But I gotta say, when I hear you say, "Oh, it's the office of the presidency," I'm thinking, well, what happened when conservatives and Republicans were going so harshly against President Obama? What happened with Ted Nugent?
anybody hold
This
up
is
That's
what
the
we were
only.
talking
By the
about.
way,
No.
exception
No.
proves the rule.
Well, that's
exception
I'm
proves the rule.
That's not the exception because I could
Really?
go to Carl Palladino. I could keep the going names.
Can we-
That's
But
two.
but I can keep going. But then
All right,
you
what's the
say-
third one?
Did
then you
anybody
say-
hold up a severed head of any other
Look,
president? A
I
president
just think
Barack
it's.
Obama,
I
anything
think
like
it's
that?
horrific.
They
I
banned
think
the
it should
rodeo
not
clown
be.
for life.
Right.
The rodeo,
A rodeo clown,
But
Juan.
rodeo clowns use the mask of every president. We showed it, right? There were Bush masks, there were Clinton masks, there were Obama masks, and that rodeo clown lost his
Great
job.
point.
And think he doesn't have transferable skills. When you're fired as a rodeo clown, where do you go?
Right.
Right.
Five?
You're
No.
Where do you go?
Well-
In the case of Ted Nugent, you go right to the Oval Office because President Trump will invite you in and celebrate. You think, well, wait, how can he celebrate Ted
President
Nugent?
Obama invited Black Lives Matter to the White House, and they
Yeah.
chanted about killing police
Are
officers.
you kidding?
We can
This
play
is
that game all
That
day.
is so wrong. That's not an equivalent. And Ted Nugent.
How is that not an equivalent? It's a
Excuse
precisely
me,
accurate
Black Lives
equivalent.
Matter has never called for killing cops. You are
You've
really
never seen
ridiculous.
a
like
video
bacon?
on
That
this
is-
very
that's
show where they
ridiculous.
say, fry him up?
Oh, you know what? That's so
Pigs
absurd.
in a blanket?
That's how conversation.
been on the show watching the video.
That's how conversation and real debate in this country gets diminished because people say ridiculous, outrage. You think, what is going on? Am I in the same world with this person?
Well,
You're not.
Juan,
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Juan, the problem is that you're not understanding. No one at this table would say that it was acceptable if somebody did it to a liberal or Democratic president.
But
We're
I don't
saying
hear this
that it is
outrage. No.
conduct unbecoming. I'm telling you, it's outrageous conduct.
It is
I don't care how
outrageous.
somebody votes or who they are, who they believe in. It's not acceptable to do.
Agreed. But I think Republicans, especially some now on the Trump side, are reveling in this. It's like, oh, you know what? We are so resentful of the
reveling?
Hollywood elites and the Kathy Griffins, and this is our opportunity to tell them off. But they didn't have this
I
reaction
agree, but
when
you know
people were
what?
going
Maybe,
after Obama.
maybe we deserve it. Like, maybe you're right. Maybe people are reveling in it because we've been through it ourselves for so long.
Ted Nugent's one example. You've had Madonna saying she wants to bomb the White House. You
Yeah.
have Kathy Griffin now saying this. Sarah Silverman says she wants an armed overthrow of the White House. There's been a lot of
Where is
violent
she to
threats
defend her, buddy?
directed at this president in the last 100 days. You can name maybe one person said something. I think this is what Ted Nugent said. If Barack Obama becomes the president in November, again, I will either be dead or in jail by this time next year.
Oh, no. You want me to tell you some more,
Not
Jesse?
that
'Cause I can sense-
acceptable, but at the
Jesse,
same time, it's not like holding a severed
Jesse,
head
I
that was
think,
bleeding.
Jesse, I think you're just underinformed on this issue. Ted Nugent said the man basically was a subhuman mongrel.
Yeah.
Juan,
Ted-
that's disgusting, but that's
Oh.
not threatening his life. And that's what
I
we're
see.
talking
Jesse,
about.
Jesse, look, I'm just going to tell you. You know what he said? He said, here's my machine gun. Put your mouth on it. That's pretty horrible,
Kimberly,
Jesse.
what
I know, but I guess one.
he said and what Kathy Griffin
nobody
said,
is
is that
saying
legal?
right, but here's what I'm trying to say. We get that that is not appropriate and is offensive.
Correct.
So is this.
I agree.
So what's your point?
My point is, oh boy, when this happened on the other shoe, I didn't hear such outrage on the right saying, you know what, Mr. Nugent, that's unacceptable. We don't like
There
President
was-
Obama.
No,
we differ with his policies.
We
don't
did
like it.
on this program and talk about Carl Palladino, and we did say it wasn't appropriate. So sorry.
I just wonder what Kathy Griffin really thought was going to happen. Like, did she play? Did she?
She
plan
said
it
it.
out?
Yeah, she said.
I'm going to have to move to Mexico. It's going
Yeah,
to be so
call your
bad.
dad, apologize.
Like the short-term pain of this will lead me to
Yeah, better
some sort
things.
of career.
I mean, you have to think about, like, CNN fired her for this. Apparently, they haven't watched the previous New Year's Eves because, in my view, it's her performances on New Year's Eve that are actually worse than this one picture.
Remember that
because
one
she
thing?
did it every year.
I remember
Greg.
that
It
one
should be
thing she did.
punishable.
Yes, she really she's strapped.
Her sin is that she's no KG.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah,
No one
she-
is. You know what else Kathy
She's a
Griffin
reverse
said?
KG.
Well done. Kathy Griffin also...
Remind me never to reverse myself inside out.
When Sarah Palin put those targets on the map of districts she wanted to flip,
Yeah.
Kathy Griffin blamed Sarah Palin for the Arizona shooting of Gabby Giffords.
Yep.
Now, years later, look what happened. She's holding the severed head of the president.
And what is-
would she ever be responsible if anybody takes a swing at President Trump? By her
swing?
very logic,
No, it's
she
much
would have
worse.
to hold whoever made a threat or tried to do something against President Trump responsible.
And remember, Democrats used that with the Montana blaming the guy shaking up the reporter on Trump.
You know what's, to me, Congressman Gifford has said this is reprehensible. Chelsea Clinton said today, vile, wrong, not funny. So I don't get it. It's
That's
not
the
like,
title of her memoir.
Yeah, well, I don't see that. I don't see Democrats somehow supporting Kathy Griffin.
No, I think Democrats finally woke up to the fact that what's been going on in their party is totally unacceptable.
And the split screen shot on this is Kathy Griffin on one side with our president, and on the other side is Jihadi John from ISIS. Yeah. So there you go.
It's so bad even Democrats can say.
But the thing is, how much you want to guarantee that because she insulted the acceptable villains in Hollywood and the media, how long will she be down?
She'll be presenting at the Oscars by February.
Exactly. If it was anybody else,
heard it here first.
If it was reverse, your career would be over. In this case,
all right.
She's
well,
fine.
Coming up, some shocking statements from a bitter Hillary Clinton. That's up next.
And we can crank up that never change.
Hillary Clinton today spoke at a tech conference in California where she had quite a bit to say about her loss to President Trump in November, including her email scandal and Russian meddling in the 2016 election.
The use of my email account was turned into, the biggest scandal since Lord knows when. This was the biggest nothing burger ever. They covered it like it was Pearl Harbor. The Russians ran an extensive information war campaign against my campaign to influence voters. Comey was more than happy to talk about my emails, but he wouldn't talk about investigation of the Russians. So people went to vote on November 8th having no idea that there was an active counterintelligence investigation going on of the Trump campaign.
Gosh, brutal.
Ugh.
President Trump weighed in on Twitter, writing, quote, "Crooked Hillary Clinton now blames everybody but herself, refuses to say she was a terrible candidate, hits Facebook and even Dems and DNC." In some ways, Kimberly, I feel bad for her because she's got grandchildren. She's had a long career.
Yeah.
She could move on and enjoy life, but instead she seems very bitter. And instead of just saying, "We lost on me, moving on," she's really raking over some old ground and coming up with fake news herself about these Twitter bots.
That's correct. This is where, when you're a best friendie.
Yeah, you take her
best friendie.
aside.
You take a walk in the woods together. Nothing creepy.
Where's Huma?
And yeah. Tell Huma that she sits this one out. And you talk to her and you say, "Listen, you're better than this, rise above it." And I'm just trying to get her to do the right thing. If you're somebody that's on her team, on her side, and say, it's really not a good idea. Be presidential even though you didn't win, and show them that you are the bigger person. Inspire the people that believed in you and supported you, that you're a class act, that you're someone that will have relevance based on the issues that you want to propel forward in your ideology and not based on your grievance.
Do you think anyone in the Democratic Party is telling her that, Juan? For example, Joe Biden tomorrow will announce that he is starting his own PAC. Which to me means, okay, is he like setting up for possibly something in 2020 just in case? The Democrats are trying to move on, but she's kind of not letting them.
I don't think that's a problem at all. I think the base, in fact, celebrates Hillary Clinton, thinks that this is what they want to hear. I mean, to me, that's like telling President Trump, stop tweeting. It ain't happening. I mean, there's an audience for it, and there's an audience for what Hillary Clinton says. And Dana, I just don't know why you even said that thing about the bots. I think everybody knows.
No, it's very specific. She was talking about this story that has been debunked in the last 3 days. The suggestion that all of a sudden President Trump got 300,000 Twitter followers,
I think
and that
she's
those were
talking
specific.
about-
I'm talking about. That was very specific.
Okay,
she was talking
that's
about
different.
That.
I think she's talking about what was going on during the campaign.
She said both.
Okay, and during the campaign, I don't think there's any question.
Oh no, we were all the target of it.
Okay,
Yes.
I think when John Podesta got hacked, it was just hours after the Hollywood Access tape was released, and you got to think, hey, there's some collaboration, collusion, whatever going on here between the Russians and the Trump.
Her daughter Chelsea Clinton today, Jesse, said that she doesn't know how she will explain President Trump to her grandchildren. I feel sorry for her.
They're going to be living in an America that's going to be great again. They should just tell them that. Listen, Hillary says this scandal with the email is a nothing burger. Then why did everybody destroy evidence and plead the fifth? She's also blaming the New York Times for losing. That's like when you lose a baseball game, you blame the fans for not cheering loud enough. She's also saying that she's blaming misogyny for losing. Then she also said just a week ago that if the election was held on October 27th, she would have won. That means America was not sexist on the 27th and then became sexist on Election Day. She's also saying that she's been claiming that Russia was trying to influence the election. She was telling everybody she could, but no one would listen to her. She's supposed to be one of the most powerful people in America, and no one's listening to you, Hillary. Not a very good look.
She doesn't mention, Greg, that she campaigned more in Arizona than she did in Wisconsin, which state Arizona that she was probably not going to win, in Wisconsin, one that she needed to win.
Someone should tell her that people go see the Harlem Globetrotters play, not the Washington Generals. This is a traveling roadshow of lingering defeat. The fact that she said nothing burger, which is a Washington, D.C. cool word, meaning it's not cool, stop using it. It makes you look foolish, especially in that Star Trek chair where she looks like she's flying a spaceship into another obscure planet where she should live. By the way, you know what? She was speaking at a tech conference. Isn't that hilarious?
Yes.
She's speaking at a tech conference. It was tech that cost her the election. That's like Bill Clinton speaking at a I didn't sleep with an intern conference. It's ridiculous. And then she blames misogyny. She's an expert at it, the way she treated all the women that Bill Clinton hit on.
Good point.
So anyway, I just got to read it. Can I read a text?
Of course.
This is from Ted Nugent. So this came over the transom, as they used to say. This is
you text with Ted Nugent?
Every now and then.
Wow.
Gee, you could do better.
He says, I never threatened the president. The Secret Service even concluded that.
Yeah, after the Secret Service investigated.
Well, they investigated me, too. You wouldn't know why. Now they claim I shot an Obama effigy. Absolutely false. It never happened.
Right.
So I told him, in the interest of being fair and balanced, I would read this text over to the 30 or 40 million people currently watching our show right now.
Yes,
Before we go, can I just ask Juan for you to comment on the Joe Biden PAC news and what you think of that?
I saw Joe Biden yesterday on the Amtrak.
Ooh, name dropping.
No, no name dropping.
I love a name dropper.
No,
But
Ted
I
Nugent
think
sounds a lot more fun to hang out with.
I don't
you
think
wrote
so.
in together?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Joe Biden is popular, and I think Joe Biden, as he has said, does not think that Hillary Clinton was a great candidate,
right?
And thinks that he has an ability to do something that's so critical for the Democrats right now, which is to reach out to working class white Americans and remind them that the Democrats are their party, not this populist ideologue Trump.
They left
To
that part
my
out
point,
in the last
Kimberly,
meeting.
then if that is true, then wouldn't the Democrats prefer for Hillary Clinton to focus on bigger picture issues, pick a couple things that she cares about and focus on those rather than treading this ground over and over again?
Yeah, because it's all about her. Okay, so she wants to go ahead and be still the face of the party. She won't let it go. So if she has to take him down again for failure, she'll do it. I mean, that's somebody who's completely just self-interested, not thinking about what's in the best interest of her party. If she thought about what was in the best interest of her party, she would have let Joe Biden run last time. Let's be honest. But she was disgruntled because she felt they handed it over to Barack Obama because she felt cheated out of the last time. So it's like, oh, it's me again. And then now she's still upset.
Okay,
so
she should
Can we also just point out that Hillary is behaving exactly how she said Trump was going to behave if he lost. Yeah. She's hatching conspiracy theories. She's saying the system is rigged. She's blaming the media.
She's blaming
even
Water's
blaming
World.
her own party. She's blaming me.
And she's how about this? She's starting a network, and she's constantly self-promoting. Oh my God, she's behaving like Trump.
You know what she should do? She should start her own little shadow government. And so if she still thinks she's relevant, she could just create a little White House somewhere. She could have press conferences and invite people over. She can think in her own little mind that she's running the country.
Well, her future is tech and how to delete and destroy evidence.
Yes.
All right. We beat that horse.
Let's ride it.
By the way, that's a metaphor.
It's a metaphor.
That's a
Please,
metaphor.
Secret Service, do not investigate me.
No, it'll be the liberal media.
All right. Directly ahead, the media is again obsessing over one of President Trump's tweets. This one featuring the word cuvette or something like that. Wow. We'll tell you all about it next.
And how to pronounce it. Spent a lot of time discussing the proper pronunciation of the new word coined by the president. We did too.
I think it's Kofifi. There it is.
Okay, Kofifi.
The V
you're
is
right.
silent. C-O-V-F-E-F-E.
You're right, George.
Kofifi. Okay, so well, that tweet, that word, Kofafi, whatever you want to call it.
You want me to say how to pronounce this word? I don't know. None of us here, Kofef, none of us really know how to say this.
Kofefi, we're going to let you make the call this morning.
Despite the constant negative press, Kofifi. Huh? Qu'est-ce que c'est Kofifi?
Yeah, good morning. Meaning, I'm not sure what the meaning is. I'm still trying to figure out how to pronounce it. Gail, you have one. I'm going to go because it's summertime with corn cob.
Okay. Asked about the tweet, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said, quote, the president and a small group of people know exactly what he meant. Jesse, care to decipher?
It was a typo, obviously. I think everybody knows that. The media looked like they covered Trump's typo more than they covered his beheading, which says a lot about them. The typos bother me. I'm a little bit of a grammar and punctuation Nazi. My parents are both teachers, so I don't know what the excuse is. He doesn't drink, so I don't know why he misspells things or does things like
He's
this.
not trying to misspell it because haven't you ever tried to type on Twitter?
Yeah, and then you send something wrong. I don't. Maybe he's, he loves the
It's
poorly educated.
autocorrect,
Maybe he's trying to appeal to
coverage.
them.
Yes, that could be.
I just think what it shows, though, that he does have a lot of power at his fingertips because he could send out some typo and send the media on a wild goose chase. Next time the Russia subpoenas start popping up, I just send out some emojis and just have it blows everything off the front page. He follows me on Twitter. I'm going to give him that advice.
Okay, good. I think I'll take it.
Ay. All right, Jesse, that was a good one. Okay, Juan, did you find this funny?
Well, initially it was funny because obviously he meant to say they were getting negative press coverage in his fingers or his thumbs or whatever. But also it just indicated to me that at midnight, Kimberly, this is a lonely guy. He's watching TV.
Oh, my
God.
gosh.
He wakes up early. He watches more TV. He's got nothing to do.
How do you know all this?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. This is an isolated guy. And I think, what it strikes me is that people then buy into this as distraction entertaining instead of paying attention to the fact that the policies aren't working, not there. I just think this is the way the media's gone these days. It's all about entertainment and personality and distraction.
Juan.
Hey, that's
want to
actually,
lighten up a little
can I
bit?
argue? Can I say that that's true and that's beautiful? Because at least all the problems that they're talking about have to do with words and not deeds. I mean, we're sitting here, we're talking about a tweet. Most of the things that become news that have to do with Trump have to do with the things that he says. It's not like he's going around killing people or making horrible deals with enemy countries. He's only killing terrorists. He's not doing things that bring shame to the Oval Office.
No.
I mean, sure, he says things that your eccentric uncle might say, but they're just sayings. So I don't worry too much about it. And I think it's even the real lonely people are the media who spend so much time on this story. I mean, the barrier to entry in this story is so low because it's just a tweet. You can go crazy on it forever. So the mistake is that we find it so meaningful because it's so easy.
Okay, well, I'm going to go to the chief communicator, Dana Perino.
Well, I think that he handled it well. It was funny.
Thank you.
Who amongst us hasn't spelled something wrong on Twitter? We all do it.
Me.
And I also think the media was having fun with it.
letters are so small.
Like, we criticize him for covering something and having fun with it.
Right.
I mean, I think
hilarious.
it was funny. Now, what I don't like, and I don't know if he was joking, it didn't sound like it, when the press secretary, Sean Spicer, says, well, actually, the president and a small group of people know what he meant. Like, no, the president already made it funny. Can't we all just laugh about it? Politics and humor should go hand in hand. He violated one of my rules. No Twitter after midnight. Nothing ever comes that is good out of that.
He also said no hats.
And no hats on TV. But I also think it tops strategery. Like, nobody remembers strategery.
Okay, Hillary Clinton just tweeted.
About us?
Yeah. Hillary and
great.
Kofifi houses shouldn't go Kofifi. So now everyone's getting...
See, now that's not funny. The president was funny this morning. Let him be funny. Let the press laugh about it. I think it's good for everybody to have a
actually
joke.
tweet that?
Yes.
Sounds like a nothing burger to me.
Well, so that's your champ right there, trying to get in on the Kofifi fund.
Oh, it's a little bit like Ted Nugent, huh? It could be.
Oh, my God.
Kofifi sounds like two twins that Bill Clinton are dating.
You know what he should have done? It was corrected, but I think he was so tired, so out of it. And the thing is, he's so powerful
I'll have the
that he can
Kofifi.
tweet something at 1 o'clock in the morning and have the whole world paying attention to the next day. It's crazy.
Hey,
we are in a crazy place.
I think it's good that you have a president that's got stamina and awake at midnight.
It's a two-headed French poodle, a Kofifi.
Up next, Kofifi.
Wasn't he the
With a
UN
friend.
president or something?
Up next, President Trump might pull out of the Paris Climate Accord. Good idea? We'll debate it after this quick break. So sick.
President Trump may have us pull out from the Paris Climate Agreement, but the question isn't why we'd pull out, but why we pulled in to begin with. That was Obama's choice, and he did it on his own, which sadly he could. When a pal spends cash on lotto tickets instead of toothpaste, it's a bad decision, but you can't stop him. And that's what the Paris Accord is, the world's worst lottery ticket. Imagine a ticket where the prize is way smaller than the price of entry. A ticket that costs 10 grand that gets you $5 in 100 years. That's the Accord's most optimistic prediction, that it will cut temperatures by 0.05 Celsius over a century. Let that sink in. In scientific terms, it's trivial. In human terms, it's homicidal. Trivial because there'd be no difference if we did nothing. But it turns homicidal once you think of the things we might have done instead with all those trillions of dollars. You could solve everything from malaria to malnutrition. The UN estimates that for $75 billion a year, we could give education, basic health care, sanitation, clean drinking water to every person on Earth. By diverting funds from that, the Climate Accord signers hurt millions of people they never have to meet. So there's no guilt. And that's what this is really about. It's about guilt. The Climate Accord is fueled by a lie that the West is so foul that only chucking trillions at a problem will absolve us of our exaggerated sins. But instead, the Paris deal makes life a whole lot worse. Kill it, then let's dance on its grave. You know who signed the Accord? I love this. Dana, North Korea.
Well,
that's that, and everybody's going, see, even North Korea's doing it.
Even North Korea, but well, they might have nuclear power soon.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, but no, they would prefer Earth to be spending trillions of dollars on this and leave North Korea alone.
That's right. So the other interesting thing is that if you remember when this was signed, and we talked about it on the show, we were making fun of them for saying that President Obama deserved all this credit because it actually will achieve nothing.
No.
If you look at the Massachusetts MIT assessment, it was something like global temperatures could reduce by 0.2 degrees Celsius in 2100.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Well, actually, 0.02. Well, it's 0.02.
0.2, excuse me.
And that's actually, I gave a higher one, 0.05, because I was feeling diplomatic.
Because you're being nice. Well, I think that the president tomorrow, he says he's going to announce this at 3 o'clock in the Rose Garden, bold venue for something like this. I think that he can explain it either way. If he says he's going to stay, it doesn't matter because it doesn't really have any teeth in it.
Right.
And he can say that this is important for diplomacy. If he decides to leave, he can say it doesn't matter. Either way, I think that it doesn't matter.
Jesse, what do you think he's going to do?
He ran on America first, not Paris first. I think he pulls out. It's worthless like a piece of paper. I actually read what it said. Listen to this.
Yep.
It sets goals for reducing emissions.
Right.
And then every year they meet at a fancy place.
That's all it's about.
And
This
they
is
talk
why-
about whether or not they've met those goals.
This is why President Obama didn't deserve all of that adulation and praise at the time.
And it's non-binding, and there's no penalties for not reaching the goals, and you can pull out of it, and there's no penalties for that either. So the whole thing's worthless, and even considering that Trump's policies do take into effect, under Trump's current policy approach, by 2025, our carbon emissions will be going down 19% lower than they will have been in 2005. So they're already projecting lower emissions significantly if we just continue down the path we're going on. And that's much better than China.
Pullouts, emissions. This is about five-star hotels, Kimberly. These people just created a process for the rest of their lives. They get to go to the best places in the world, hang out and meet Leo DiCaprio. That's what this is about.
Well, that's what it's about. And then Elon Musk, like, we may be forced to withdraw from panels. Fine. Get back to making your fancy cars. These climate change treaties, they're basically a transfer of wealth from, developed economies to less fortunate, because you give them grants essentially to subsidize so that they can then say, we are fighting climate change, right? And by the way, so the U.S. signs this is a bad deal for us. We're the ones that are going to be penalized. We're already doing a good job and making sure that we have reduced carbon emissions. So we're actually wearing the white hat here. We're the good guys already, but yet we want to continue to do bad deals, punish ourselves, lock ourselves in climate handcuffs for what?
Wow.
I don't know.
Sometimes I think to myself,
you just don't know what you're doing here, Juan.
Unbelievable. I listen to this gunk and I think, wow.
Give me a fact, Juan. One fact.
I'll give you a bunch of facts. You're talking about 0.5. Dennis wants 0.2. You don't
That's
think,
from MIT. That's not
wait a
from
minute.
Dana.
You don't. Wait, that's what you said, but I say
it's from MIT.
But here's what I'm saying to you guys. Oh, so that means that it's not rising. It's not It's not continuing to rise. No, you say it's reducing. Oh, okay. And you talk about things like, oh, what about floating cities? What about scarcity and hunger?
Floating cities.
Oh, yeah. What about, no, don't talk about that.
Where are you getting this information? Did you watch Inconvenient Truth on NyQuil again?
Oh, Al Gore is in my, you know how Ted Nugent tweets you? Al Gore is in my head.
Al Gore said the ice caps were going to melt by 2014. Last time I checked, it's still ignore.
Oh, I see. That's your conservative defense.
Do you know how much this is going to cost the United States?
That was an ignorant statement by your man Al Gore.
The USA, Syria, and Nicaragua, the only countries in the world that say, oh, nothing's going on. Temperatures aren't changing, aren't getting hot. Oh, no, don't talk about it.
So you agree with North Korea then?
You know what this is? This is Steve Bannon. And the nationalists saying, this is Make America Great Again. That's why he's tweeting that.
Juan,
and somehow,
I
think that's for suckers. It's for suckers who don't notice that there's no jobs deal.
You know why?
There's no jobs deal, no trade deals,
you want to
no social safety net with his budget.
country dry of money and resources for no reason, just to say that we support climate. So this is supposed to.
You wouldn't do something good that would help other people.
You have to spend at
least the good things are the things that they're neglecting. Clean water, hygiene, malnutrition, malaria. All of that could be solved.
Why don't you just let the Chinese go ahead? The Chinese are the big polluters. Let them go.
You want some facts? Wrap yourself around this, okay? We will spend at least $100 trillion in order to reduce the temperature by the end of the century by a grand total of, wait for it, 0.3 of
this
1
is what we were discussing,
degree.
Kimberly. And of course,
can you think of a better way to spend that money?
Yeah. Kimberly, that's like saying lots of things, but to keep the temperatures from rising is essential for us.
Their climate models have been gone. In fact, if you have a slight increase, that helps with vegetation, which increases lifespan.
I have one sentence, which is that President Trump can reverse President Obama's mistake by withdrawing from this accord and then putting it to the Senate. This is something President Obama was not willing to do, and it would stop the nonsense of the executive branch going around the Congress to try to commit America to decisions that it's not willing to make legislatively.
Exactly. And on that note,
thank you.
You know what? You could have saved that in your journal. I'm glad you didn't.
GPJ.
All right. Boy, these drugs are starting to hit. I'm sick.
You'll be out tomorrow.
I have decongestant.
We got it.
I have stomach stuff.
You know who you're making sick now? The control room.
I know. Are the Republicans the ones that are blocking Trump's agenda? And now...
President Trump hasn't signed any major piece of legislation into law yet. One prominent conservative is blaming the Republicans for that.
So the Republican Party, which is ostensibly the party of the president, and they owe their majority to him, particularly the Senate, are roadblocking Donald Trump more than the Democrats are.
Wow. So this, by the way, Kimberly, fits with something Corey Lewandowski, the president's former campaign manager, said. He said if Republicans don't get behind Donald Trump, they will lose the 2018 midterms.
Yeah, well, I think he ought to know. He was obviously very actively involved in structuring the campaign and planning the election of the president and making sure that he was successful. And I think a lot of people owe their seats to the president and turning out the vote in those districts to be able to secure their margin of victory and, you know, prevail in the election. I don't think, based on districting and what's going on, that it would be a good idea to try to just ignore that and not pay attention to their constituents.
Jesse, this morning the Wall Street Journal said, oh, you know, there's a lot of dysfunction inside this White House. Maybe the president needs to admit that the root of the problem is in him.
I don't see that happening. Listen, they got to ride the guy's coattails. I mean, they're in there for a reason. The Republican Party was facing, I think, 12 years being out of power in the White House. Then Trump came along. You have 2 years, basically. It's a small window.
Wait,
everything can
years.
change.
8 years.
The next 2 years.
No, I meant they were out for Bush.
He means the legislative window.
Oh, okay.
And now I'm talking about the window. Try to keep up. 2 years. Now, it changes very quickly, and you got to get everything done. Because if you don't get it done, then you're going to have the Democrats have the House. Then you know what happens? Impeachment. Then they start trying to impeach your guy. You want to run in 2 years on that? That's not going to be fun.
Really do
Build the wall, cut taxes, put people back to work.
But, Dana, would you agree that it's Republicans who are blocking Donald Trump from accomplishing his legislative agenda?
This is a mutually beneficial or destructive relationship. They need the president and his capabilities to help sell these policies. Part of the problem is that the president made promises, for example, on health care, that the bill that he endorsed that passed House do not meet. So that's a problem. Also on the tax plan, what's to pay for? They don't know yet. So it's hard to go out and sell those things until those two fundamental questions are answered. But there is nobody who can sell this like the president, and they really need him to lead.
And what do you say, Greg? Come on, Donald Trump?
I think the answer is somewhere in the middle. On one side, you have these yes men, right? They're good because they give you support, but they also indulge your worst instincts because they won't tell you anything. But then you have critics who can be a pain in the neck, but they somehow bring out the best in you because they expect more. So we got to find a place in the middle there where it's like where people don't. I don't like when people say, you better get on the Trump train. Shut up. And then you have other people that say, I'm a never Trumper. It's like both of you are almost the same. Right?
There's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, there's similarities between never Trumpers and Trump trainers. You guys, you know, it's a nice little place in the middle there. Meet. Have some croissants.
I think there's a lot of disappointment.
There will not be any croissants on the Trump train.
Head on the 5. This just in tonight. Video of Tiger Woods' DUI arrest. It's coming up next in One More Thing.